right here we have our section view of our stairs, and what I want to do is I want to bring this section view into our Photoshop file. So let's start by making this view hidden line. So let's go down to Face Style under View, make that hidden line. Let's make sure nothing is selected. Let's go to File, Export, 2D Graphic, and let's, I'm going to grab this and we'll call this Section 1, I believe. And so we're bringing that view in. And so when we bring this into Photoshop, we got our Photoshop here. This is something we worked on in the other class, and so you can have, I've taken this black box here and applied that and put our floor plan on that. And so what I did when I brought in the floor plan is I actually just inverted that floor plan. And so if you click on the floor plan, I actually do have a, let's deselect that. On the floor plan here, you go up to Image, Adjustments, Invert. You can take that from black to white. And so that could be really useful when we bring in our section, because right now I don't know where I really want to put that section, but we could do something of that sort. So maybe what I'll do is let's bring in that section view and let's see what we can do with it. So we have this section 1 here, so let's drag that in. And once we have this section view, we may have to do a little cleanup to this view, and that's depends on whatever you want to do. And so the first thing I'm going to note to myself here is I probably don't want anything below ground here. So what I'm going to do is use the magic wand, and before I use the magic wand, I may need to make this a rasterized layer. Where is the rasterized layer? So right down here, rasterized layer. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select this bottom here and hit delete. And the one thing I'm going to do actually before that is I notice I'm missing the bottoms of my footings. So I'm just going to add a line here. So let's click line, and we're going to hit deselect, Control D. And let's add a line on the bottom of our footings here. Okay, let's try this time. Let's just drag this over. Probably would have been easier to fix this in Sketchup at this point, but here we are. And really my point behind showing this is that you can do some slight edits to stuff if you need to. Drag this over, almost there. That was really painful to watch. But yeah, you can do some slight edits to stuff if you need to. I'm going to merge this line with our view here. We can put bubbles right over this. So we can merge layers, and then I'll merge this line, and then I'm just going to paint this green part black, and then I'll make that disappear. Alright, that was a lot of work for nothing. And then now when we magic wand this, we can actually magic wand and essentially remove the ground. And so depending on where we place our object, we now have the ability to edit what that ground looks like. And we can also do the same with the sky. The sky I may do in a couple of different increments. And just grab the different colors of the sky and pull those away from our horizon. And so now we have this really simple section view here, and we can Control T, and we can make this smaller. Bring that section view over here. Maybe kind of a cool technique would be to actually bring this section view here, and maybe what I'll do is I'll move my floor plan over. And instead of this ground doing this, maybe what we'll do is we'll make this ground do something a little bit different. So I'm just going to delete this ground that we had here before. And maybe what I'll do is I'll shrink this building up a little bit. Something like that. And maybe what I'll do is I'll make that view bigger later. But what we can do is use this polygonal selection lasso, and I'm going to grab my street line here, somewhere around here, and I'm going to bring this down and select here. I don't know if this is going to look good or not, but we'll try it. And I'm going to paint this area in black, and we'll actually let's create a new layer for this. I don't want a new layer there. Let's create a new layer, and we'll paint this in black here. And then we just need to pull our view out in front, and this is a way we could almost make it look like this building is part of this view. And we've got our first floor there. And then what I'll do with this section view is I'm just going to crop it a little bit so we don't have these lines coming out here. So I'm just going to use that same polygonal tool and crop along that line and just delete this section here. And then I'm just going to bring this down just slightly because it looks like it's hovering a little bit. Like that. And I don't know if that looks good or not, but you know, it could be a way to blend the ground into your building. And then we've got this kind of cool floor plan here. Maybe in this floor plan, even though it's black and white, maybe we want to make the actual floor itself pop a little bit more. So instead of black and white, maybe let's bring a bit of a gray into here. We'll make these floors actually gray, just so we can tell the difference between them. And then the stairs are a little bit of a darker gray, so they pop as well. So, and then actually we do have the driveway here, so let's maybe make the driveway an even lighter gray. And that's not going to work because we don't have a line closing the edge of the driveway. So I'm just going to invert my lines here. Let's just draw a line across here. Hopefully we're not too scarred from the first line we drew. And then we're just going to take these two layers, merge the layers, and it should allow us to paint this now. Where is our paint bucket? Should allow us to paint this like that. So again, I don't know if I like this or not, but we're starting to get a bit of a board set up, and maybe, you know, often sometimes you'll have a more important floor plan, so maybe your basement's less important, or maybe you have a way to maybe get all three on here. Maybe there's enough room to get all three, and that could be how you lay that out. So certainly lots of options with that, but that's one technique of bringing the building in, cropping and cutting some stuff, and applying those elements to the building. So let's pause that recording there, and we'll do another one for some materials.